right, guys, welcome to Next Level Live. Got my good friend and special guest, Paul McLean.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome to Next Level Live. We are going to take a very short period of time to intro today's training. One of the things that I think we've done a really good job of over the course of, it'll be 8 years in December, is knowing that there's times to make changes, right? I think we try to ebb and flow and make sure we're moving in the right direction and put the clients and the agents in the best possible position to win. And a year and a half ago or so, the world changed, and it changed dramatically, right? And there was this uncertainty, like what do we do? And one of the things we did is we kept doing what we've always done. That's what we knew how to do, right? The state said, hey, y'all are essential, keep doing your thing, be socially responsible, go to work, life's good. But at that time, there were some folks that said, hey, listen, due to my life circumstances, I'm gonna have to go ahead and make sales from my house. Zoom, telesales. We had some people that said, I've done this before. I'd like to come over here and with you guys, because I can do a lot better selling over here with you guys than I'm doing in my current situation over the phone and through Zoom. And we said, all right, well, we don't know a lot about it. We don't want to just go ahead and say, hey, have at it. We wanted to really test the waters. We wanted to make sure that A, people could be successful doing it. B, the quality was good, that persistency would be good, and that we would kind of have a trial and error. And we had some people that really stepped up at the company, Jonathan Porcina, so many other people that said, hey, I'm going to go ahead and do this because of my circumstances right now. And I can give you a list of a bunch of people who said, let me figure it out for everybody, and then let me report back. And as we're doing it, let's all just keep doing our thing. Now, we had a massive year. I mean, we're going to issue $400 million in life premium this year. So it's not like we're like, oh my God, what are we going to do? But we want to service more clients and want to help more agents. So, when we started looking at the numbers, then we said, all right, let's find some that are really good. And you're going to see a lot of this coming through. We're launching a platform, virtual sales on. But today you're going to hear from Ginger, and you're going to hear from Andrew and Ginger. And Ginger is somebody that's going to lay out exactly how this is done. She's going to talk about every aspect of it, what you need to know, what you need to look out for, what works, what doesn't work, and what you're going to need to do to ensure your success. Because, Paul, we've always just wanted to help as many clients as we can.
Yeah.
That's right at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
And I think over the course of time, we got really good at going out and meeting with folks. Now, if you ask me if I get to pick my choice, I still like meeting with people.
Yeah.
But then again, circumstances might be, hey, I need to get leads over here. I need to do this here. And then on top of that, you'll be released after today's training all the live transfer companies that we have that have contacted us, like, hey man, you guys are doing this, we're so excited, how can we help? We see how big y'all are. And then what's also happened, which has been an unintended benefit, I guess, we want to help more agents make money and clients, is people calling and saying, hey, I've been doing Zoom for a year.
Yep.
Like, I've been doing it for a year and I'm being paid this to do Zoom, and I want to be paid more. I didn't know y'all could do it there. And I'm like, yeah, we were just we had to figure it out. Maybe we didn't move fast enough to it. If we didn't, that's 100% my fault. That's definitely on me. But we wanted to make sure we had the right approach, and we had to get through a year and change of, let's look at a good batch of business to say, okay, does this make sense? Is the quality there? Are we going to be successful? So anything you want to share as it pertains to what we're looking to do now, and before we turn over to Andrew and Ginger?
Well, dude, I want to thank you, man, because your ability to adapt and evolve, it's always been next level as far as seeing around that bend. And I talked to somebody about this the other day. I said, when you look at Family First Life, the amount of leadership that the company has, it's like you've really got, like Sean created 60 IMOs within an IMO as far as the level of volume.
Probably more than that, right?
If not more.
It's insane, yeah.
And so, the Bible talks about there's wisdom in a multitude of counselors, or different books talk about the mastermind group. So when we take a look at something that is introduced, and you're like, hey, I think this would be great. We got a lot of great people out across the country that have been successful in telesales and stuff like that, and you take a look at the amount of people like an Andrew Taylor, Mark, all these different people, and you put their minds together, and the amount of volume we've got, we're going to take everything to the next level. I mean, this call is appropriately named. Like, this is going to go to the next level now, and it's no different than somebody. If I go start selling knives, and I'm selling to a guy down the street, and Costco says, hey, I'll take you as long as you don't sell them to that guy. I'm like, all right, Costco, I love you, bro, wish you the best, but what do you want me to do? Mm-hmm. And that's kind of how we set this up, and that's a benefit of what you've created, to go out there and help as many clients as we've helped, which every piece of volume is a client. Mm-hmm. When you say 400 million, that sounds great, because of how many people got paid and how many clients got served. It's not like a company that says, hey, we grew by 200 million and merchandise was sold. No, that's families impacted, man. So I want to thank you for continuously looking being willing to adapt and evolve and know that, hey, this is something that's going to take us to the next level, and now putting things in place with the multitude of leadership we've got to take it to the next level. So thank you, man.
No, thank you. And I think this is going to, by the way, the call's going to run a little bit longer than an hour. Now you got me saying call. Mike always get on me. You know, our live will run a little bit longer than an hour today. But I promise you it's something you're going to want to watch again. We're going to keep sending this out. We're setting up that virtual platform. We're going to have everybody on there talking about what they do, how they book, where you get the leads, what kind of leads, transfers, everything you want to know. We just want to see people win. That's it. We want to see if you're not in the business, you're looking at it, come check it out. We'll walk you through it. It's not complicated. You're in the business, you're looking to do it, come check it out. We'll walk you through it. But I'm going to turn it over now to Andrew and Ginger. I couldn't be any more excited about what we have going on. And again, we're coming off a record contracted agent week. That's always very exciting for us, and a record submit week. And we're big on issue paid numbers, so let's see what that turns into for issue paid next week. But as we march to $400 million in paid this year, $200 million in the annuity side and the advanced market side give you $600 million. You know, that $1 billion we talked about is what we're excited about. We have a bunch of new announcements coming up too. I think I was totaling, now when you look at Integrity Partners, people in that process getting ready to announce, we were talking about wanting to get to at least 20 by the end of the year, and we're going to go by that. So you're going to see some new announcements coming up here, which is insanely awesome for those people, their families. And I was talking to an agent the other day, and I'm like, you could do it in a year. And that's, by the way, some of the people that you're seeing announced have been here for not even 2 years.
That's crazy.
So, you know, I missed it. They just got here. So without further ado, Andrew, Ginger, take it away. This truly is a ground floor opportunity as far as what we're doing here now virtually. We need your help. We need more people to help us. Appreciate you guys. Good for the client, good for the agent, doesn't hurt the company we're in. So have a great day. Here you go.
Hello, everyone. Andrew Taylor here. Thank you, FFL, for having us on the Next Level Live. We have a guest with us today, Ginger Lichtleiter. Thank you for coming in. Today we're going to discuss what I say is what I would call a ground floor opportunity with FFL. And you've been very, very successful with doing virtual sales. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people can use this as an add-on tool or as a tool in specific situations. And it didn't hit me. We did a video the other day, and somebody sent me this message. They said, they sent the person that was on the video because she was having success on Zoom sales. Mm-hmm. And she said, hey, I'm with FFL. I saw your interview with Andrew about how you closed $50K on Zoom. That was very inspiring to me, as I will need to stop my in-person appointments due to starting chemotherapy next week. Your training gave me hope that I could still be able to work from home virtually, and I'd love to talk to you and learn more. Will you be open to a 10 or 15-minute conversation? And reading this, I realized how many people this tool can help. And the reason I say it's a ground floor opportunity is because with what FFL's already done, adding this to what we're currently doing will take us to the next level. A few things before we get into that, we do want to make a couple announcements. The first announcement is Family First Life had a record month. A record week, a record month, record after record. But last week there was $11 million in commission life premium paid in 1 week.
It's nuts.
An all-time record. And Sean Mike goes, which he's always done, someone called him the Robin Hood of insurance. He goes, we have to do more things for the agents because we're doing so well. And that's what we've always done. Yeah. One of the things are these producer bonuses. So if you write $30K as a producer in life premium, then you get a $500 bonus. 40, $750, 50, $1,000, 60, $1,250, 70, $1,500, and it goes all the way up to $6,000 in premium. In bonus per month. Now, Ginger, I like this as a tool to hit another tier. Like when I first started, someone offered like a free iPad 1 month if you did more premium, and I only worked to win the free iPad, but I made like $15,000, $20,000 extra dollars. So we were excited to launch this, and the checks go out every single month to producers. They've also made an adjustment to the VP bonuses. As a VP, the minimum bonus is $2,500, which is more in a year than the average person makes selling insurance.
That's crazy. It's like paying everybody's mortgage every month.
That's what I'm saying. So minimum bonus, there's hundreds and hundreds of VPs, is $2,500. We'd also like to share the bonuses that were paid out last month to VPs. Drew, can you pull that up? So this is the VP bonuses for July of 2021.
Wow.
$2.7 million paid out to managers. This is over 139 people. The average bonus was $19,618.75 for the month.
Wow. Here's a free car.
I know. 20 people got over $5,000. This is on top of overrides. This is on top of personal production. This is as the company does better, giving back to agents and people building agencies. 12 people got over $20,000 checks in July. This is really kind of freaky. 14 people got over $10,000 checks. 5 people got over $50,000 checks. And the scary one is 8 people got over $100,000 bonus for 1 month.
Wow.
And then the really freaky thing is somebody got a $450,000 bonus for 1 month. There's some bonus money that's being paid that is bananas. And looking at what we have here, adding Zoom, and you're an expert on Zoom. Adding all these other tools, I say this is like ground floor opportunity day one with FFL.
I agree.
And takes us from doing $500 million in issue paid premium this year to $1 billion next year.
100%. I agree.
You have a PowerPoint we're going to go over that you use. But before we do that, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay.
And can you tell us a little bit about your mindset when it comes to virtual sales?
So, when I started in the business in the very beginning, I ran in home. I loved it. I can say that it kind of got to where, my husband makes fun of me all the time, but as a girl, sometimes going into a home, I would get really nervous because I didn't know what situation I was kind of walking into. And I would work until late at night, and people were really wonderful, actually, for the most part. But it was just that initial sitting in the car before I went into a house if all the lights are off and I was meeting with, a single guy or something like that. I would just be like, what am I doing? It would just, I don't know, I just would get really nervous. And so, but I kept doing it because I just thought I love what I do, to make this kind of money and to control my own schedule. And then, we didn't have leads. So for a long time, so I had to travel. So I started traveling all over the U.S. and I enjoyed that. But, when COVID hit, we had the opportunity to either sink or swim. And I thought, well, I'm sure everybody's learning how to use Zoom, right? Like older people are learning how to use Zoom to talk to grandkids, and they go to church that way now. And I think this is an opportunity that never would have come to us if we hadn't have gone through a pandemic. So what a great opportunity to say, hey, for people that need to do Zoom, that it's better for their families or whatever their situation is. I think that it's a great opportunity, and I just took advantage of it. So.
And you have 7 daughters, right?
Yes.
That is great. And any boys?
No, not even. My first grandchild was a granddaughter.
Wow.
Yep.
So 7 daughters, providing for a big family, you and your husband.
Yep.
And this was a tool that you could use where you didn't have to travel as much.
Yeah, for sure. I get to be at home. I get to, in between appointments, it's crazy because I'll sit down and I'll think, wow, I worked for 45 minutes and I made $2,200. And then I got up, fixed supper, cleaned up, sat back down for another appointment, made another $1,500. Like, I walk out of my office sometimes, I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, people need this. I sit down, help them on Zoom, super easy. We apply with the carrier, we're done.
Now, what attracted you to Family First Life? Because your team is growing fast. What made you go, this is a good fit for me?
So I'll address the team growing fast. This is something I've never experienced. My team has grown so fast that I have to go, who is this? Who's this person? And actively sit down and investigate, like, I want to get to know them. I mean, it's grown that fast. And I think it's because people are making money and they're happy and they're like, hey, and that's how it's building so fast. But I think it stemmed from just really struggling to keep agents. I was afraid to have the conversation. I remember Sean Mike said something I remember I used to watch his podcast and like, oh, Sean Mike.
You didn't like us, right?
I didn't. I was just like, oh man, I hate that guy.
Did you know me or no?
No, not so much. I guess because Sean's so vibrant and
Yeah.
crazy and
Yeah.
and then, but he said something. I was like, it kind of stuck with me. He's like, I'm not afraid to ask an agent what's in your bank account. And I sat back and I thought, I'm afraid to ask my agents because I know they're broke, and that's not right, right? Mm-hmm. And you're definitely not going to bring in any more market if you know that. And it kind of boiled down one time. My husband said, we were thinking about moving to Utah, and he said, what if I came in with you and did this, with you? And I'm like, I don't feel good about that. I don't feel good having all of our eggs in this basket. He's like, why not? And I'm like, it just doesn't feel right. So we ended up moving to Utah. He started a flooring company, does really well with that. I stayed with my previous practice IMO, and it's just miserable. I was thinking, I'm just going to get out of the industry because this isn't fun anymore, and it should be. Leads were hard to come by, and it felt like even the new leads that I had, the warm leads, had already been dialed, and it didn't used to be that way. And even new agents that came in couldn't even get the new leads, so they were working like 9 months and older leads. And so I just told him, I said, I think I don't want to do this anymore. What if I did flooring with you? And he said, you never looked over the fence, with Family First Life. Like, we had a lot of agents come over here, leave because they wanted to make money. That was the attraction. And I was just so prideful. I was like, oh no, I'm not going over there with Sean and Mike and those guys. And when I looked over the fence, it was all kind of from there. I just really opened my eyes, just like from a business standpoint, make a business decision. This is an emotion. The people I work with are not my family. My family's my family. And I'm not able to take care of my family because I'm so worried about my work family. And that's backwards, don't you think?
Yeah.
So when I looked over the fence and just put my pride aside and said, what's best for my business? What's best for my family? I know what this is going to cost me in friendships. But when I started looking at it and having conversations, I met amazing people. Even when I talked to you on the phone, I think you were one of the first people that I talked to. I remember I was just like, hey, so tell me, are the leads really good? And you were like, leads are leads. Nah, we just got a lot of them. And I was like, oh, I appreciated that, right? Because that was my problem, is that I knew how to work a lead. I just didn't have enough.
Were you expecting me to say they were the best thing ever?
I expected you to sell me, and nobody did. I was like, what comp would you put me at? And you were like, boom, here you go. And I calculated the year before what I sold and what my agency did and what it would have made if I had been at that comp. And then I started calculating all my agents, what they would have made. And the ones that left, what they would have made, they would have still been with me.
Because they're coming in at over 100% comp.
Oh, yeah. It's a rule. Nobody comes in less than 100 because I want people to make money.
And it does help keep people in business. Big time. But you also mentioned something to me. You're a big reason why we are launching virtual sales, because of your success and what you've shown us and what your team's been doing, and even Rachel's success and your guys' whole group. You guys have gotten really good at helping people that want to do virtual sales as a hybrid model where they do both, or because they have to. You've gotten really good at it, and you've proven that it works. So you guys are a big part of that. But what were some? That's a clicker for the
Okay.
PowerPoint we're gonna do.
Babe.
Yeah. So, what were some? Were there any other things that attracted you? Comp. What else?
Comp and the CRM that you could dip in and buy leads, new leads, not old ones. That I could bring new agents, and it was a system where I can be like, here's boot camp. Well, here's your new comp. Here's boot camp. Here's your leads. Go. And people who are going to be great are going to go, and they have all the tools they need. I didn't have to depend on anyone else to decide if to turn their favor on me, right? Like I could bring anyone in. And what that did was if you'll look back through my social media, I never posted my bank account in all the years that I was doing this. And then when I got here, I was like, wow, this is important. And then all of a sudden, I cancel any of my recruiting that I was doing. I only do social media because I want my friends and family to know that come do this with me. I'm confident you're going to make well over 6 figures.
If you work.
If you work. Yeah, it's not going to be handed to you. That's the first thing I say is people are like, oh, it's too good to be true. If you're lazy and you think it's going to fall in your lap, that's not how this works.
Mm-hmm.
But if you work hard, it'll come to you.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what about how many years have you been in insurance?
I started in 2016.
Did you find your first year in insurance was the hardest?
Yeah.
Like you wanted to quit a couple of times?
Yeah. Just studying for the test, I was like, term and whole life. Like, I was like, am I stupid? Like, I don't understand. And I just thought, okay, I'm just going to let it happen, and kind of got into it. And I had a lot of people tell me, a lot of good people tell me just to make a lot of mistakes and get those out of the way. And so I did. And I'm I believe in that God always gives us a path, and it felt right. And it felt like a good direction and something good for my family where I could be with them more. So yeah, I've never looked back, but I knew things were bad when I thought about getting out of the industry. I just didn't know.
Yeah. What would be your mindset if someone's preparing? Because this presentation that we're going to go over, you use on your Zoom in the background.
Yeah.
So and we're going to send this out to everybody so everybody can have this as a tool to use. Cool. And you're going to do your presentation with me right now as your customer.
Yeah.
But before we do that, what is the mindset you have to have? And what are the realistic expectations that you have to be successful doing this?
So this is really important. My husband's always like, hey, what are the numbers? Like he looked at my presentation, like make sure everything's spelled right. And he's like, all right. So then he was just like, I just think it's really important that you talk about the numbers behind everything. That I think a lot of people are like, oh, I'd love to do Zoom and work from home. They need to understand that everything about our business is just a number. I think people put too much emotion, like, oh, they were mean to me on the phone. Who cares? Like, you just need to calculate how many dials you need to make your appointments, to make your sales, to make your income. And then you adjust everything accordingly. So the first thing I would say is that, and this is the cool thing about Family First Life, and this is why virtual is going to blow up here. Because you need more leads in your funnel. Because your show ratio, you're not going to be standing on the doorstep like, hey, knock, 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 and they open it up, cooking dinner. And I always say, oh, forgot. Come on in, eat dinner with us, right? That doesn't happen. If they're eating dinner and they forgot about a Zoom, they're not going to go sit at the computer and do a Zoom meeting. So I think that you need to understand that your show ratio is going to be lower. And knowing that, you put more leads in, right? But then it kind of counteracts because then if you're not using gas, driving all around and, paying for hotels and things like that, you can afford to buy more leads and put them in. Mm-hmm. So you start swapping time for money, right? So you start thinking about balance, work-life balance. So there's that part of it. I think that the company standard for us is 30 appointments. You're going to have to up your game, 40 to 50.
So you're not, you don't have to drive to them.
Mm-mm. No, and the beauty is that you, if somebody doesn't show up, you're sitting at your computer. Your phone burner's right there. You just get on Chrome and go to your phone burner and book some more.
Now, how much are you issuing yourself per month doing this?
So I think that's a fair question. Over 25,000 a month.
And what's your lead mix?
I do a combination of instant internet and mortgage protection.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't matter as long as you're licensed in that state, then you can have more leads opposed to just trying to run a few areas that you physically can get to.
Yeah, so here's the really cool part for everyone is that before people are like, oh, I don't have leads. Well, now you have leads. And the neat thing is you can either lock out a state for yourself and take any lead in that state if you like it. And then another thing that I do is I'll go into the CRM, and you know how there's those counties with like 2 instant internet?
Mm-hmm.
No one's going to buy those 2 and drive out 4 hours in Utah, to cover 2 instant internet leads. But if all of a sudden you're doing Zoom, you're like, I'll grab those 2 and that one and those 8, and then all of a sudden you have 40 leads.
What's your ratio on internet leads? Because one thing that I've always done in business, even when we met, the reason why you asked me how's the leads, I'm like, they're the same as people get. They're direct mail leads, they're internet leads. But I've always wanted to give people realistic expectations. When I first got in the industry, I used to tell everybody, you could crush it. This is so easy. People call in and want your help. And then when they would start to call people and they have a few people hang up on them, they have people say they didn't fill it out, they would get discouraged because I overpromised. So I'm always big on setting realistic expectations. And me in the field, I always say I was an average producer because I would only sell 7 out of 24 appointments a week. And I still ended up writing 400,000 every year, but I had a lot of no's, I had a lot of rejection, and I wasn't some master salesperson. I was just a normal dude, go in, want to help people, but I knew my numbers. So if we have somebody that's going to use internet leads, what is the proper expectations for a booking ratio?
So I'm going to tell you right now that mortgage protection on Zoom performs the very best.
Okay.
That you need to know that. Those leads are $50 to $80, right? They're not just sitting in the CRM waiting for somebody to pick them up, but there's plenty of vendors you can get them from.
Yeah.
Let the flow comes.
Yeah.
Everybody can get them here. You don't have to be special. You don't have to live in that city for many, many years and be with the company for 5 years before you even get A leads. Like you can just pick them up right away. It wouldn't be a smart business decision though to buy 50 mortgage protection leads or 100 and spend $5,000 for a month unless you book like 15 appointments a day. Like you really have to. I remember I asked Zach one time, I said, what kind of leads did you buy when you did that 100,000? It was when we were here last time. And he was like, I accidentally locked out too many retro leads. And so like it was 3,000. I had to sell 100,000 that month. Right. So you can do that if you want to. You have to have a perfect combination of sweat equity and what you're spending because you want your cost per lead to be lower. It's a business,
love that.
right? So when you buy the $11 instant internet, you know that they're not going to convert like the mortgage protection. The mortgage protection converts 3 to 1. And for lazy people, that's kind of great. You're like, oh, boom, I booked 10 appointments. I only dialed for like 30 minutes. But from a business standpoint, that's not smart. So you have to be thinking like, okay, I'm going to have to get some $4 leads and some $11 leads to bring my cost per lead down. And then if you know your conversions, you don't get all like, I was going to say something I'll filter. You don't get all hurt if somebody's mean to you, right? You expect that if you have 100 instant internet leads and you only need like 15 appointments out of those.
Which is probably the ratios.
Yeah, 10. How many people are going to yell at you or be mad at you until you know to get to your 15 yeses? And if you know, right? I think everybody should have a piece of paper on the wall and like, I don't know, make up something funny and like put like 80 ticks on it and be like, how many times you got yelled at or whatever, how many mean people are there on the world, and make that a mark off where it's a game. Oh yeah, somebody's mad at me, because then you're closer to your 10 to 15 appointments, right? I think it's a mental thing. But yeah, to answer your question, I would say make a business decision, get $4 leads, steal yourself, figure out your conversions, and work a combination.
So you bringing up sweat equity brings me back to when I first started. And I was working at the grocery store and I had no money. And somebody told me, they go, since you don't have money and you have a lot of time, get the $2, $3, $4 leads. But you have to put more time in, but it's not going to cost you as much. And until you have enough money to start transitioning into newer leads, you're buying your time back when you transition into more mortgage protection and you diversify your lead flow. And I always used to say, Do you have time or do you have money? And if you have more time than money, then what you're saying is very helpful, because you make a few sales and then you can put that back into more leads, and you just keep doubling down on that until you get more time from having more quality and more abundance of leads.
No, I 100% agree. I tell people when they come in too, I think Trey's really helped me with this, is things to ask new people who are coming in, like how much money are we looking to replace this year? How long can you go before, how long is it going to take you to figure this out? Can you go a month until you figure it out? Or can you go like a week? If you can only go for a couple of days it's probably not a good opportunity for you. Like, you need to understand coming in here, this isn't a job where you're making 9 to 5, 100 grand a year. This is an opportunity where you're like, wow, I've been capped my whole life. I've been stuck at 120,000 a year or 75, whatever it is. You're coming into this like, I'm going to bet on myself that I'm good at this. I can be good at this. I see other people in the industry that I'm better. I could be better than them, right? You see that potential in yourself. You have to say, okay, if I bought a snow cone truck, it's going to cost me 10 grand to fit it out, right? I mean, bare bones, that's like a really cheap franchise, right? This is an opportunity where we're like, hey, get your license. We'll pay for the course. Go get your state exam. Do it online from home. Have $1,000 for your first investment of leads. I tell people, you may suck at this, and so you might need to buy another $1,000. You might need to buy $5,000 of leads before you figure it out. I don't know how quickly you're going to get up and be able to do this, but the opportunity that happens in that second and third and fourth, with everything like bonuses and the opportunity to make $500,000 a year on your own pen, is incredible. And there's no other business that you can buy where immediately you're in the black and you're not in the red the first year.
Exactly. So I was talking to an agent a few weeks ago, and they said they were frustrated, single mom, and they had made, I think they're averaging 9,000 a month. And they're frustrated because of all the rejection, and they were having a rough week. And what I told them is, I've had hundreds of weeks like you're having right now. It got easier over time. But even when I was doing really well and people were mean to me, or I was on a dry spell, or I was getting no sales, I was still frustrated and thought about quitting. And I was so glad that I didn't quit and that I pushed through, and how awesome it was when I got to that. Have you had that happen to you? And do you think I'm trying to find out if people should understand it's okay because it's normal.
So again, if you take the emotion out of it and you put the numbers back in, there's no way people can set legitimately 30 appointments every single week and not be successful doing this. I'm pretty sure. I have 2 daughters that are deaf. I'm pretty sure they know more about insurance than most people because they sit in the car with me all the time when I talk to agents. And I'm pretty sure they could learn to do this by the end of the month. A lot of times when I have agents that are frustrated or they feel like they had a lot of rejection, I can pretty much go back in history and find where somebody didn't work as hard as they could have one day.
100%.
And we can kind of go back and maybe they didn't spend enough on leads. Like, I can always go back and figure out where the problem originated. And it wasn't usually with the leads.
Or didn't put the time in.
Right.
So I came up with this thing where I just want to resolve every lead. I just want them to tell me yes or no. And if I would get every lead resolved, which took work, I would end up writing my $10,000 in premium for the week. And it was just this little trick in my head to go, don't focus on anything but getting a yes or a no from everybody. Call. If I had to door knock on my wood, whatever I would have to do, I just wanted to get a yes or no and say I served that family by attempting to give them the information they asked for.
That was part of what I put in the script here is that I let people know, like, hey, we're going to get you covered and we're going to do an application, or you're going to decline coverage, and that's totally cool.
Yeah.
Like, if I just need an answer. I don't want to, let's think about it, or no, this is what we're going to do. If you don't want to do it, I'm fine with that, but let's pick one. I think that's a great thing, is to think I'm going to resolve every lead. Dial through them a couple of times and then text them and then do everything you possibly can because you spent money on it.
Yeah.
I think in my head, I think Vivian said one time, I can't remember, I think she said that was a $150 lead, and everybody's like, what are you, $150 leads, right? But that's the mentality we should have with every lead, whether it's $3 or, right? You wouldn't go to Starbucks and be like, here's $5, and they'd be like, sorry, no coffee, see you later.
Yeah.
Oh, my coffee.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I love that. Well, let's get into this is the PowerPoint you use, right? It goes on the back of your Zoom.
yeah.
You said make sure people do a one click to get into Zoom.
So go into your Zoom settings and make sure that, number one, if you've never done Zoom before, practice with a family member, because I think people are nervous about computers.
Yeah.
It's super easy.
Yeah.
Remember that everyone knows how to use Zoom now after COVID, because everyone was locked down for months at a time and they used Zoom to talk to their families. So I would say 95% of the people I talk to know how to use it. But you want to make it super easy. And when you go into your Zoom settings, you can put one-click join, like a browser one-click join. Just make sure you go through your settings and make it easy for anyone to join, right? So that's probably one tip I would give people.
And let's do the phone script first,
Okay.
and then let's get into this. And is the phone script in this PowerPoint?
Yeah, it's at the very end. I don't know. Do I just click?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Click it forward.
Let's click it forward, and we'll go back.
Where do I point it at?
Point it more towards my computer.
This way. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I felt like on the Zoom phone script, there was 4 things for people to know. The first one is your show ratio is only about 40%. That's a lot lower than if you booked 10
I
appointments.
feel like
at home.
my show ratio was like 50% when I was running appointments.
I can't help you there. But just remember that your show ratio is going to be lower, right? So don't be offended.
Yeah.
I had people be like, what are you doing on Zoom? Like, how are you getting people to show up? I'm like, I'm not. I'm just have more appointments.
You
I will-
follow up with them though, right?
Yeah, I will share a little. Remind me here in a minute to share the trick about the rating system
'Kay.
when you book. The other thing is book until you have 10 appointments a day. If you want to do more, we'll talk about that in the rating system in a minute. But you dial in Monday for Tuesday, Wednesday. Try to not go more than 48 hours. Like your show ratio goes to half.
And that's even with in-home too.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I'm going to go to someone's house, if it's more than 48 hours, they're going to forget, go shopping, go grocery shopping. They forget the appointment.
And then again, you would Thursday for Friday, Saturday, you need 40 appointments a week. I will tell everybody that Friday nights doesn't show very well for me. So just go on a date.
So Friday nights, you don't book.
Not usually. I've booked them and skipped my own date night. And then,
Got no show.
yeah, somebody else went on a date and I was all sitting at home by myself. The next thing is when someone doesn't show, immediately start dialing again. Don't sit there and be like, oh, good, I have time to go watch Netflix.
Fill in.
Right.
So when you're working, Sean used to tell me when you're working, spend 100% of your time working so that when you're not working, 100% of your focus is with your family.
Yeah.
So what you're talking about right now is, let's say someone doesn't show, you use that as phone time to book more appointments.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah. The next one is that if they come up with any more meds in the Zoom, don't hesitate to sign into the carrier's website and give them quotes. You'll find that they actually like to participate in looking for their own coverage on the computer. So like I did this all last week and I kind of experimented with it and I didn't go in and I'll show you slides in a minute that have options. A lot of you guys do phone script and you don't ask for meds. If you don't want to do that, that's fine. I have it in the phone script if you want to do it, if you want to be prepared. But if you just say to people, like, talk to me about your meds, it's already in the presentation and they start telling you stuff, then, if you're pretty good at it and you kind of know what directions to go, you can even look up underwriting guides with your client sitting there.
I love
Like-
that. And they can see your computer.
They see the screen. I've shared the screen the whole time.
Can they see you too? Or so are you in on two phones?
No, so that's why I say practice with Zoom, because when you say share screen on your computer, it'll pop up a bunch of screens and you can share the desktop where you are, or you can share the screen. Go ahead and have your presentation pulled up, and then when you hit share screen, you'll see your presentation down below where you're kind of talking. So then when you click that, then that particular screen is being shared and it'll overlay the Zoom camera. Also make sure that your Zoom camera is like the people, like the little box where the zoom is,
Mm-hmm.
make sure it's close to your camera. So when you look at the people, you're making eye contact. That's important, right?
Love that.
Because if your zoom box is in the bottom and you're like this, then that'd be like me talking to you like this, Andrew, and it's super weird.
That's such a good tip.
Yeah.
You're almost face to face.
People forget they're on a computer, you know. Another thing too is don't forget your background. Like every meeting you have, look in your background and see if there's anything in there that's inappropriate. Have a conversation with your kids who are deaf to not say bad words when you're maybe have headphones. There's been some comments and people are like, there's been some bad things sometimes and people are just so cool. I'm like, I'm sorry.
They
I
probably
live in a
like it even
circus.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Because it's real.
Yeah.
People like real. They like the truth. They like real.
Yeah, for sure. I think people appreciate it because we're all hot messes.
We're all hot messes. Everybody is.
So that's what I would say. If you don't want to be prepared, that's okay. Just log into carriers' websites and tell them, say, hey, I was thinking $300,000 for you because that was your mortgage, but let me show you it's pretty expensive. Let me show you what, 150 would be. And then I have clients all the time that would have said no in the home say to me, let's try 75. Let's see what that would be.
I've had a lot of people over the years tell me they just didn't want to meet with anyone, and that would just be a dead lead for me because I wouldn't try to do this. And think about all the people who they just don't want somebody to come over.
Yeah.
Do you get that? Me too.
I don't want people to come in
I
my
told
house.
you that. Yeah.
You said what?
I said I don't know who it is. I don't want them at my house or my family, my kids.
You said you don't want no creepers
And
around.
I would get on Zoom and do this.
100%, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of hit me, my husband and I, during COVID. We had several businesses, and my husband's probably the most overinsured person in the entire world. He's afraid to go to sleep at night. I'm like, if we die, where else is so many kids? Where are we going to do this money? So we were shopping for a living trust. We did it right over the phone. We didn't even do it on Zoom, so,
Yeah, and I got my mortgage done over the phone. I got, what else did I do? Health insurance over the phone. So, and I didn't think it was weird
Yeah,
at all.
yeah, because you need it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if I could buy a car, we do. Amazon, Carvana, we're this society.
Does Amazon own that?
No, I don't know.
Oh,
I'm just spreading rumors
that's
now.
a pretty crazy thing though. The stacked cars, and have you seen that?
Like the vending machine.
Yeah, the vending
car?
machine of cars.
Yeah.
And it's like straight up. You
Yeah.
just drive by it. There's a bunch of cars.
Yeah. How many of you have been to a car lot and you just want to say, no one talk to me, I already know what I want. Just let me drive a few things and then I'll come in and buy it.
Yeah.
Carvana.
Yeah.
Yeah. Carvana. That's what it is. Yeah.
Carvana. So yeah.
So let's,
Okay.
what's next?
So, okay. Oh, sorry. So the script's kind of big on our
Drew,
screen.
can we shrink this?
I made it big like this for you guys so
Okay.
that y'all could have it on a iPad next to you while you're dialing, because Phone Burner will be up on your screen. You could open this up on an iPad and have your script right there.
Ooh, that's
Yeah.
huge.
So I just made it big and filled the whole screen with it. But basically, so a couple of key things I've figured out in the phone script. I'm just going to do it for you real quick. You're going to be Bill.
Okay.
Okay. So, hey, hi, is Bill there?
This is Bill.
Hi, Bill. This is Ginger.
Hey, Ginger.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. Thanks for asking. So, Bill, I was calling you regarding the letter you got in the mail from Mortgage Protection. You or your significant other filled it out, then sent it back into our office. Do you remember doing that, or do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Was it you or your significant
It was
other?
me.
Okay, good. Okay, good to know. Well, I'm the caseworker assigned to getting that taken care of for you. And you'd indicated here that your birth date was?
7/6/59.
All right, cool. And then, are you a tobacco user?
No.
Okay. You going to start up anytime soon?
Nope.
Okay. I have 7 daughters sometimes. I'm a non-smoker, but I think about starting up
Yeah.
all the time. And then your significant other, are they a tobacco user?
No.
Okay. And I'm sorry, I didn't ask you their name. What is
Bonnie.
Bonnie. All right, perfect. So, Bill, since I'm contracted with all the carriers that offer mortgage protection, I know that they make a decision on your coverage based only on your prescription history. So, what prescription medications have you taken in the last 5 to 7 years, even if you don't take them anymore?
I take lisinopril for blood pressure, and I take like a statin for cholesterol,
Okay.
simvastatin.
Pretty healthy?
Yeah,
Okay. Any surgeries or COVID in the last 12 months?
just a knee surgery.
Okay. No, we're okay there. So, and I want to point out here in the phone script that a lot of times people don't know the names of their medications. Don't let them go get them. You're just going to take too much time.
Okay.
If you didn't know the names of your meds, hey, Andrew, no, don't worry about it. Don't go get it. So what conditions do you take those meds for? Right?
High blood pressure, cholesterol.
Okay, perfect. So that's all I need. So as I told you, I'm the caseworker assigned to help you and Bonnie protect each other and your family. Now, Bill, I used to have to meet with all of my clients in person. They had me flying all over the country, but now due to COVID-19 and the potential coming surge, I don't have to do that anymore.
That's good.
I meet all my clients on Zoom and they love it. Are you familiar with Zoom meetings?
I've talked to my grandkids on Zoom.
Okay, that's cool. Good point here is it doesn't matter if they say yes or no, right? Because you're going to have a super easy click link, so it's not a big deal.
Got it.
Just whatever they say, you say, okay, perfect, no big
So
deal.
if I say no, do you go, it's super easy, you
Yeah.
just click a link?
Yeah, hey, don't worry about it. It's super easy. I'll make it easy for you, okay?
Okay.
So perfect. Okay, so we'll make it easy. So now let's find a time that you guys are both together. Is that going to be mornings, afternoons, or evenings?
We're together in the mornings.
Okay, great. I love that. So I have a Tuesday or a Wednesday available. Which one of those mornings is going to work better for both of you?
Tuesday.
Okay, good. It's important again to say here that book within 48 hours. So great. So I'll put you on my calendar at that time. Do you have a paper calendar or do you use a phone to track your appointments?
Paper.
Okay. So can you do me a favor and make sure that you put me in there and you don't forget about me?
You got it.
Okay. So Ginger is my name. Don't forget.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So
And I'll tell my wife so she doesn't forget.
Okay. Yeah. Because I don't want her to be like, oh, I have an appointment you didn't tell me about.
Yeah. Bonnie never misses appointments.
And I love it when my husband books appointments and doesn't tell me about them. That's always a good surprise. Okay, well, perfect. I have you guys set. So what are we going to do? So what we're going to do that day is we're going to be going over everything I found for you. I'm going to show you all your options. And if we find something that you like, we're going to apply with the carrier. If you decide at that time you don't want to protect your family, that's cool too. We can just have you decline protection and close your file. I get paid regardless because it's my job to at least make sure you see everything that's possible. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. One last thing. Will you be joining the meeting on your phone or your computer?
Phone.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to text you an easy link. And if you want to make sure that you download the Zoom app before the meeting, maybe play with it a little bit. And if for some reason that you can't get it to work, don't stress. I'll just give you a phone call and we can actually take care of
FaceTime?
it. Yeah, we can FaceTime, take care of it over the phone. Like most of my people can only get the audio, but they can't get they can get the visual, the video, but they can't get the audio. So we figure it out. I'll give you a phone call. Don't stress, but we'll get you taken care of. Okay.
So let's say worst comes to worst, they can't figure it out. You just pivot to a phone call.
Sure.
Put them on speaker, go, it's okay.
Yeah. And just so you know, like most people can figure out the video part of it. It's either video or audio. It's pretty rare that people can figure out both. And if they can, I'm always like, oh my gosh, that's so awesome. You're so smart. Right?
What if they can't figure out the audio?
You call them. I just get right on phone burner because I have my headphones and it's on the computer and I'm going to be on the computer anyways. So I get on phone burner and I dial their phone number and then it works.
This is easy where anybody can do it.
So easy. So easy. I mean, worst case scenario, I've done things over the speakerphone, but I think people are really smart these days. They've figured out.
And practice. Like just practice with your significant other, your mom, your dad, your sister. Practice a Zoom appointment.
Yeah. Yeah. And the more you do it, the better you're going to get on like, hey, click the little button at the bottom that looks like a blue little video camera. And then, oh, I see it now. You can work them through it. It's like when you've done, you know how you've had to help people through their e-app if you're over the phone or Zoom.
And then they get good at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's it?
That's it. And so I was going to tell you guys what I've found has actually really helped me is the explaining what we're going to do. So they know they're not going to get sold. Like everyone showed up. My show ratio, I think it doubled because I was like, here's what we're going to do. It's going to be super fast. Like I'm just going to go over your options. You're going to pick one. If you don't, fine.
Now, is that on here?
Yeah. I said, that's cool too. We can just decline your protection and close your file.
Got it.
No one likes their file closed.
And the other thing is like, it's just no pressure. That's how I always sold. That was what I would say when I would walk in the door. If I can't help you in 10 to 15 minutes, I will leave, no hard feelings. If we can find something that fits your needs, your budget, and is going to protect your family, we're going to see if you can apply today. Does that sound fair?
Yeah.
That was my initial close. That was a close to me because I was getting them to agree if we can find something that fits their needs, their budget, that we're going to move forward. But it also wasn't pressure. It was relieving the pressure by saying, if we don't find something in 10, 15 minutes, I'll be out of here. No big deal. I have 24 people to see. It's all good.
Yeah, for sure. One thing that I thought of when you were talking, I tried having a dialer. We have to address this.
For sure.
I that was not successful for me because you have to have a very good relationship with the people where they want to show up on the Zoom. And it didn't matter how much training I did didn't matter what type of lead to get a dialer to create that relationship and then make that person want to show up on Zoom. My show ratio was really ridiculous.
Yeah.
So when I went back to dialing for myself, I think by the time I was done, people wanted to see what I look like. You know?
Love it. Someone said, they said, do people use dialers? They do, but what I always tell people is it costs money. And we're running a business. And if you have more time, it's better for you to learn it and get good at it and book your appointments. And then if you choose to later, look at that as an option. But you don't want to come in and just have so many expenses initially when you're learning, when you can learn it yourself and book appointments yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So do you send them a text?
Okay, so if they said phone, I just send them a text because they're probably saying they don't know how to use the computer very well.
What if they say computer?
If they say computer, get an email and say, I'm going to email you the Zoom invite. And then I also text them so that they have my cell phone. So if they're going to cancel, I just want to know. I'll just dial and make another appointment. So do both.
Okay. So let's start from the beginning once you get them on. And if anyone wants this, Family First Life is going to email out this presentation so anybody can put their own information in it and they can use it as a backdrop tool for their sales.
Yeah. So when people get on, there's no chit chat. You're not sitting in their living room. It's just a Zoom meeting. So they get on, everybody's all situated. Hey, where's Bonnie? Let's get her in here. Oh, Bonnie, she's busy with the kids. Well, then we'll need to reschedule. Because this is important. If you died tomorrow, Bonnie has no idea what you put into place. Make sure they're both there, right? Or you could be dialing, making money. So don't meet with a one-legger. If people are like, oh, I take care of everything in my family. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to go through this, and then I'm going to show you what everything costs at the end, and you're going to make a decision, and you're going to apply. Do you feel comfortable doing that without Bonnie? Like, do you feel like that she would be okay with that, and you're okay with that? And then if people tell me, yeah, I'm okay, all right. I've done that before.
Okay.
Okay. It didn't cost you any gas.
Right.
So then I just say, hey, yeah, really nice to meet you. My name's Ginger again. Nice to meet you, Bonnie, Bill. So we're going to go and get started. Is that okay? Because I've got a bunch of appointments today, and I know you're wanting to get to dinner, right? Let's get to it. So the first screen here is mortgage protection. You'll notice in the left-hand corner down there, my name and my national producer number. Can you grab a piece of paper and a pen and write that number down?
Sure.
Okay, great. Let me know once you've done that.
Done.
All right, perfect. The next thing that I want to show you is I'm actually licensed in the state of Utah. That's where I live. You'll see my driver's license there. And then I actually work all over the U.S., so I have a non-resident license in Washington to take care of you.
That's if you're calling someone in Washington.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a slide. I have like 20 slides with just like this with different licenses, so I can pull them up on my presentation.
Got it.
Okay.
Okay.
And then this is my driver's license. I'm going to take a look at yours here in a minute when we do that. So I want you to see my driver's license too. That's only fair, right?
Right.
Okay. And then, like I told you, we used to meet in person, and I give you a business card, but we're not in person. So there's my business card. I have an agency. I have many agents that do this. Then I work for a company called Family First Life. They're the ones that get us contracted with only A-rated carriers. That's why we have all of them available to us.
Awesome.
Yeah. And the next thing is, how do we go back? So the next thing is what I do. So I actually go to school to do this. So I'm pretty good at it. We're licensed to do life, health, asset strategies. I actually help a lot of people. So when I help my clients, we'll take care of the mortgage protection first, because if you were to lose your home, nothing else matters. If you're homeless, it doesn't matter, right? So we want to make sure we take care of that today. But I'm actually helping a lot of people right now. They're pulling their money out of the market because they're scared. Like, we don't know what's going to happen. Are we getting the lockdown again? Are we going to lose our job? I don't want it in a 401k. So they're locking it into places where they have guaranteed income and aren't going to run out of money when they turn 100 years old or 90. So we'll take care of that today, okay? Do you have any questions about that, Bill?
No.
Okay. That sets you up for another meeting to do an advanced market.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is exactly what I did in the home.
Okay.
It's the same thing.
This is my family. I have 7 daughters. And why I do this is I haven't told you yet, but I'm almost 50. And when I was 35, I actually went into the doctor's office to get a prescription to make my eyelashes grow back. Like, I thought, oh, I'm getting old. My eyelashes are falling out. The doctor said, man, I wonder why your eyelashes are falling out, right? My mom was with me in the doctor's office, and she was like, doctor, take a look at this spot on her leg. I've been talking to her about getting this fixed. And he said, I was wondering why her eyelashes are falling out. Let's biopsy that. So long story short, I walked out with cancer. It was bad. The surgical oncologist said, you need to put your affairs in order. So, I'm thinking,
Jeez.
I'm 30. I've got 1 million kids. I make 6 figures a year. So the average family thinks in their mind, I've got $1 million life insurance policy. We both have one. We still have it, right? We have health insurance, good health insurance. We have $30,000 in savings. We have a 401k. We're fine. What people don't think about is when you get really, really sick, you don't die. The other one's not going back to work, right? My husband, he's going to help take care of me, take care of the kids. Like, mom's dying. So what do you do with that, right? So we ended up not being able to pay our house payment, and our house went back to the bank, and we couldn't get a house for 7 years because we foreclosed.
Jeez.
So the part of this that you don't realize is that you did really good up until this point, but we have to make sure your home is protected. And so there's just a small policy that you get with living benefits. So if you're diagnosed with cancer, it pays off your house, so you don't have to worry. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, about your cancer, what happened there?
Personally,
Yeah,
Yeah.
like you went through chemo, radiation?
so melanoma skin cancer, they have to just basically dig it out. So they took off a big part of my left calf to get it all,
Wow.
and the lymph node. I feel like I was healed, but it had spread to the lymph node. But yeah, it's a constant thing I worry about. So, and this time I have a lot of policies. If I get diagnosed with cancer again, it's payday.
So how hard was it to focus during that time of your life on anything?
Well, all of a sudden, nothing matters.
Money don't matter, appointments don't matter, family matters. That's it.
That's it. Like, you don't even care that your home and your cars and everything's going back to the bank, right? So you start over. So I tell people all the time, I think we have a false sense of security, that we have insurance, but we don't have living benefits, things like
Yeah.
that. So,
Speaking of that, we had an agent, Greg Bradley, pass away this week. So everybody keep his family in your prayers, and hopefully they get through this tough time. But we were talking our managers were talking yesterday, and we said, let's get back to having fun because life is too short
that's
to
right.
really worry about a no-show or having to book more appointments or whatever, because it's short. No one knows what can happen, and it makes it funner when it's fun.
Yeah. Yeah, it is fun what we do.
It is fun, but sometimes I've been in a place where it wasn't fun just because I was taking everything for granted. And it was like a burden when I'm like, this should not be a burden. This should be a blessing. I don't have to go work for somebody. I control my own schedule. I can make more money. And I had to constantly remind myself of that.
Yeah, I saw a thing on social media where they were talking about, he said, how often do you see your mom and dad? And the guy was like, twice a year, And he said, well, let's do the math. Let's do it backwards. So let's say, how old are they? And he's like, they're in their 70s. So they live to be 80, right? Do the math. If you only see them
20
twice a year,
times.
yeah, that's all you get. You only get 20 more times to see your folks. It changes how you think about things. So
That's crazy.
anyways.
Yeah.
So one of the things I don't do is I don't ask people their why.
Okay.
I don't ask you and Bonnie. I'm assuming you need coverage because you just heard this story and y'all are young.
And you tell this story to everybody.
Everyone. Yep. This is my family. This
Beautiful
is how it
family
happened.
too.
Thank you. So the next thing is I say, all right. So I go through my story, and they're like, okay, all right. So we move on. What we'll do today is we're going to go through your health information, and the reason we do that is because they're going to make a decision only on your medications. There's no blood work, anything like that. So we're going to work together to make sure that we go in the right direction. It doesn't matter to me if you've had diabetes and you didn't want to tell me about it or stroke, whatever it is. Like, I can get you coverage, guaranteed. You just have to tell me everything. So we're going to do that together. Once we figure out what carrier to go with, then what we're going to do is we're going to do a review of financial need for you guys to get a feel for how much coverage do you need. Do you need none? Right? Do you need a little? Do you both need it? Are you both working? Or does it mainly, like Bill, if he were to get sick and pass away? Are you, so we'll figure that out. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go over the options that are available to you. And then after we pick a plan, if you want to, then we're going to apply with the carrier. So this is a really important part of the script everyone needs to say here, or you're going to get backlash. Even though you've told them on the phone, we're going to apply with the carrier. If you say, then we're going to apply with the carrier, and you leave it hanging, what do you think the person's going to say?
I don't know. What?
Most of the time, they're like, oh, I don't want to apply tonight, right? You left yourself vulnerable. So you say, we're going to apply with the carrier, but, Bill, just because we apply with the carrier, it doesn't mean you have coverage. I don't get to decide whether you get coverage or not. The carrier is going to decide. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
By using that little small piece of the script, you just said we're going to apply again, but then you put it back into qualifying mode, right? So it wasn't up to them whether they're going to do an application or not. It's we're going to do this, and then it's up to the carrier. I never say things like, we'll put in an application, and then you'll see it, and if you don't like it, you have 30 days to cancel. I would never say that. You're not going to cancel because you need this, and I believe that. So I didn't even say that word. Don't say it.
I love it.
Then they say, okay, perfect. So then you click on. I think I'm missing. Let me go back.
Drew, can you click it on your end?
Sorry. It's pretty. You'll go back the other way. There's like a health chart. Yeah. All right. So perfect, Bill. So we already talked on the phone. You verify all the health information. If you didn't do it on the phone, you can do it here.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times they'll see this list and they'll go, oh, yeah, I have sleep apnea. Oh, I didn't mention I had a stroke last month. No, you didn't. Right. And at that point, if you told me I had a stroke and I had prepared some option slides, don't show the option slides because those options are no longer available. This is when they get to participate in their treatment plan.
Got it.
Okay. If everything is pretty textbook and they're pretty healthy, then you can go into the next slide. This is your financial needs. So basically right here, we determined, okay, your mortgage amount is this. If you sold your house today, Bill, what do you think it's worth? So your mortgage is $200,000. If you sold your house today, what do you think it's worth?
$350.
All right. So you've got about $150,000 in equity.
Mm-hmm.
All right. If they're older, you're going to really camp on this because you're going to do equity protection. They can't do a full mortgage. So you're just going to say, so Bill, a lot of the options that our clients have is they can do what's called equity protection because it looks like you have $150,000 and you're the only one working. So if you passed away, right?
We want to make sure that your wife can
Right. She can sell the house and
have time
Yep.
and not lose the equity.
Yeah, because over time, and Rachel taught me this, over time, you see the E in the little triangle there?
Mm-hmm.
Over time, the goal is, right, to put all of your money inside, right, to grow it. You don't want your mortgage getting bigger. You want your equity getting bigger.
For sure.
So that's the goal. And then right here, I ask people, hey, I've got your mortgage amount in the amount of $1,500 here. What's your monthly nut? All your expenses. Some people will see the list and give you a whole breakdown of their budget. And it's really cool when they do that. I would say 90% of people do it. Oh, bills. And when they're sitting together, a lot of times you find that spouses don't even know what they're paying for it's usually one spouse that takes care of the expenses. So the other one doesn't even realize that they would be screwed if something happened to the other one.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great opportunity to lay that out. So we're going to look at your liabilities. We're going to look at your assets, move over and ask them, what insurances do you have that aren't at work? Because if you lost your job, would those insurances, life insurances, stay at work?
No.
So again, you have to help them figure out what their perception of life insurance is. right? Is it a group plan? Is it outside? Then you go through retirements with them. If they have any money in 401k, IRA, you ask them, how do you feel about that? Are you worried even a little bit that you're going to run out of money when you get ready to retire? Are you going to have enough money? If they say no, just say, hey, there's somebody on my team that does advanced markets. It's free. You should at least talk to them, right?
Love it.
And then I get all of their income totally broke down. And this is where you find out how much coverage to offer them.
Okay.
Okay. Once they see how screwed they are, or how like, oh my gosh, they see the picture and you already know what carrier, then they agree they need coverage.
Yeah.
That's their why.
So I use the financial inventory, which is the same thing, right? It just looks a little different. And the way I would train people and the way I got I got better at closing was this. I would say that this is what you're doing right here is you're painting a picture of their life. And you learn about their kids while you're talking to them, right? And then you're literally like an artist, and you're showing them what it looks like if they're not there. And that's why this piece is so important not to skip.
Yeah.
Because if the person's gone, it shows what that looks like for them. And that's why you don't have to ask the why, because you're showing them the why.
That's right. For sure. I mean, the funny thing is that people are like, oh, well, if I live 10 years and I outlive the amount of this policy and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, we're not making a decision in 10 years. Like, if you know that's your death date, then man, that would make my job easy. If you died tomorrow, is everything 100% in check? Bonnie, are you even a little bit worried if he died tomorrow in a car accident? You are? Then that's the amount of coverage we're going to put into place, right? So you get that agreement here, and then it's just, let's figure out which one. If both people are like, sure, that sounds great, which one, then move on, right?
Love it.
And then,
Drew, next.
so I have a lot of agents that do Zoom sales, and they love being prepared, and you can be prepared. I think it's great for a new person in the preparation part of it. They learn a lot about the carriers. So I just wanted to mock up something for you guys. I want to point out, if you're going to do the preparation part of it, don't put the pricing on this slide. Because when you're explaining all the options, all they can see is the pricing.
Got it.
Another strategy is to put option 3, if it's the cheapest, first. So that's what they see. It's up to you guys. I don't put any dollar signs on the right-hand side of the chart. Only thing I put dollar signs on is the amount of money they're going to get, right? Because for most people, when you see a dollar sign in front of it, what does it mean? Is it going to cost you money or make you money?
Simple psychology.
Yeah. So, and in the black, right? So, and then in the next slide, Andrew, if you want to just click it, then that one would have the money. So after they understand option 1, 2, and 3, you go back through and say, okay, so option number 1 for you, 30 years is blah, blah, blah. Go down through it, show them everything. Do you guys understand? Yes, we understand. So Bill, what option do you want to provide for Bonnie?
So 30-year is 85 for me and 92 for me and 85 for Bonnie.
So yeah, so in the previous slide, you want to make sure you explain full mortgage, all
Do you
of that.
put their names, or do you put like John Doe?
I put their name.
You actually put their name on there.
Yeah, because if you're doing appointments every 45 minutes, you have 5 minutes, 10 minutes before.
And
You
just
should prep. Yeah, just put their name in, put the pricing in.
And you're not driving, so if you think about the time that you're saving there.
Yep. And if you can prepare, it's an easier close. It really is.
Yeah.
Because then they just pick option 1, 2, or 3. Bonnie, you both work. If something happened to either one of you, you're left in a pickle, right? So you both need this. A good strategy is, if your budget's tight, let's do a half mortgage on each of you. So if you died together, the whole mortgage is paid off for the kids. And let's say one of you died, then you could take that $150,000, apply it to the $300,000 you owe, refinance it, get in a payment that's cheaper than rent. So you help them logic through it, but don't talk through it. Like if I had to close Andrew in the home, man, I would meet you stare to stare. Bill, what option do you want to provide for Bonnie?
And that's what you're doing on Zoom.
And let it sit there for a minute. Be awkward.
Okay.
Then
So I'm going to go option 2.
so option number 2. Okay, I'm going to write that in your file. Bonnie, do you want to provide any options for Bill or?
Option 2 for both of us.
So both of you, option number 2. So we're going to do half mortgage on each of you with full living benefits. That's another thing usually I put on the slide if you want to put that somewhere, is the living benefits for all of those products. You can change this. It doesn't matter how you do it. Option 1, 2, and 3. You can also make this Zoom for life insurance. If you're doing instant internet, just change the mortgage protection and put life insurance. It's the same. Everything's the same. It's pretty much scripting and everything. Nothing changes. And then we hop over to the carrier. I stop sharing my screen, and then I go to the carrier's website. I let them see me log in. I have all my passwords pre-saved in Google, and they see me log in. So I'm legitimate. I'm contract with these carriers, Mutual of Omaha, right here.
And they feel safe.
Yeah, super safe. They feel a part of it. So yeah,
And then you start doing the app.
yeah.
What
Go
do you
right to it.
say to keep good persistency, or what are some tips on keeping good persistency when you do these sales?
See, when you say persistency, you say no chargebacks. Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying no chargebacks, but is there anything you can do to limit chargebacks?
You know, I was asked that question before. I don't see a difference in my chargebacks and persistency, Zoom versus in-home.
You don't.
No, not at all. Because you're talking to these people throughout. I spend time when I'm doing the e-application is that I come in solid and I close it up. I say, I don't know how many of these forms you filled out. I do it in the part where it says, do you want to replace any of these policies?
Mm-hmm.
I say,
On
hey,
the app.
yeah, I'm not going to replace any of your policies. I just need to acknowledge them. And I don't know how many of these forms you filled out. You probably got like 10, you filled them all out, and you've been getting called. I want to be your insurance person from now on. And I like make it awkward. And they are like, you are our insurance person.
Everyone wants their own person for insurance.
Right. For everything.
For everything. I like to go, I'm going to call my lawyer, or I'm going to call, my insurance guy, or I'm going to call whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best.
Yeah. So don't be shy. Don't just close it up tight, right? Because people are going to come behind you and try to rewrite your business. And that's just not good business. I tell them it's not good business when an agent does that,
You say that on the phone.
Oh, right to them. Yeah.
I love it. Do you keep in touch with them at all?
I do. As soon as their policy is issued, we have, text, email. We're used to that form of
Okay.
communication.
Now, if it was an internet lead you were doing, how do you change? Is there a different slide for that?
So I will just be super, honest. I'm not great at instant internet closing on Zoom. The mortgage protection, the instant internet, I'm better on the phone.
Oh, so you don't get on Zoom.
Some I do. Some if they're like, who are you? And, I say, hey, do you want to hop on Zoom? That way I can show you all my credentials. Because this is a really regulated industry, so I don't blame you. And they're like, yeah, let's do that. If I do an instant internet lead, I'm like, hey, I was just calling you about that request you made online. I was calling to help you with that. I'm a licensed broker. And I've got access to all the carriers. So what are you looking for?
And
Go
you
right
just
into it.
have a conversation with them on closing them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not scripted.
No. Just be super genuine with people. And then when you do an instant internet, I just close them right on the phone.
The first time you talk to
Yep.
them. Interesting.
How much coverage do you want? What was your budget, Bill?
And what's the success rate on that?
I would say if I had 10 instant internet appointments, I would close probably 4.
So if you get 100,
Make
you book 15,
10, 15.
you sell 5,
Yeah,
but still that's $5,000 or more in premium.
right. That's almost 5 leads to what it costs for one mortgage
And you're not
protection.
spending a lot of time because they're compliant to use for phone burner.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And if they want it, they love that I don't try to sell them. Remember the car lot? You want a car. You just dread the salesperson coming at you.
I know. Even
Awful.
Best Buy.
It's like,
Like, what do you need? Nothing.
even though you're like, dang it, I don't know where that cord is, but I don't want to talk to
Like,
you.
you go to get a suit. What do you need? Nothing. I'm
Don't
just
look at me.
here randomly.
Yeah.
That's huge. What type of opportunity do you see? You started with FFL how long ago?
In March, my first full month was in April.
And you posted your bank statements, I saw.
Mm-hmm.
Why'd you do that?
So the first one, I was just amazed at all the amount of deposits when I was just doing my own production. Like, it was crazy. I was like, the difference in the commission was huge.
Huge.
So then the one I posted this week, I was out of pocket just with my kids and personal stuff. And so I only ran like 8. I only did 11,000 last week. So I felt like it wasn't like a big giant week. But then I was like thinking to myself, so the rumor is that we don't build over here. We don't have enough spread. So I was thinking to myself, I was looking at my bank statement and I added it up for 2 weeks. I'm like, wow, I hardly even worked and I made like 16 grand and I've only been here since April and I have a team already. Like, people must be writing business. So I would rather have a lot of little deposits.
But it also is helping the new producer. It's helping the guy that needs the help the most.
Yep. Like I can ask any of my agents that are writing right now, like, are you happy about your bank account? And they're like, I'm so happy.
Dude, I had a guy who sells insurance with us who I would never saw this company coming. He's been here 2-3 years. He said he saved $700,000.
Gosh, just.
And
he
he's
didn't-
like, he's got a team doing like $100 grand a month. And then I got Josh and Alondra, and these are just some stories. They deposited $910,000 year to date from building an agency, bonuses, and helping people. And then we got Nina and Hayden. They've been netting $100,000 a month,
I know, that's crazy.
and we haven't even started virtual.
like, this is, I don't know. I just feel like you guys, like, fences are down. You guys better go stake your territory. Lock out a state, like, figure this out, because people are figuring it out, and you'll just get left behind. You can do both. You can do a combination. Do what you love.
I would do both. If I were to get back in the field, I would do both.
Yep.
I want to pet people's dogs.
Yeah.
I want to do the people with cats on Zoom.
Oh, yeah. Hey, they actually walk by all the time.
That'll be in my phone script. Do you have cats? Yeah. Okay, I'll be on Zoom tomorrow at noon.
That's so creepy. Bill, you're so creepy.
I'm
So-
allergic to cats though.
So but you can, like, when you're on Zoom with people, like, I'll be like, hey, is that your dog down there? Or, like, make comments about what's in their background. Are those your kids keep peeking in? Hey,
Yeah.
like, be relatable.
Yeah. Just like you're there.
Yeah. Yeah, people are like, what is your script for Zoom? I'm like, this is what I say every time. I use the flow of my slides. I only have 10 slides, I think, maybe less. I flow through it like this to stay on, because I only have 45 minutes, right? I have to get an application, everything in 45 minutes. Because if all my, I want to tell you one last thing before so this is my husband thought of this. It's the rating system when you're booking. And you can use it in anything, in home and Zoom. It's freaking brilliant. I'm going to give him all the credit. So you have a rating system, 1 to 5, okay? And so the 1 that you're going to give these appointments that you're making, so you keep dialing until you have 25 appointments, 25 points a day, okay?
Ooh.
So
Who came up with this?
my husband, he's like, so people are like, oh, I got 10 appointments, I'm good to go. And they're
How
all
many
ones.
points did you get?
They're all ones. And then they don't show up. People think they're real proud. You don't get paid to make appointments, people. You get paid when you get in the home.
But the quality of your appointments can be a 1 through 5, 5 being really quality, 2 being iffy, 1 being like they don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah, they're like, you had to use 3 rebuttals, and they're pissed at you when you hang
Yeah.
up, right?
Yeah.
And the 5 is like, somebody just died. I know I need this. We don't have anything. I filled it out. Nobody's called
Yeah.
me.
Love it. Well, thank you for coming in.
You're
It's
welcome.
going to help a lot of people. Keep an eye out for the email from FFL with these slides. And thank you, everybody, for having us. Thank you, FFL. Thank you, Ginger.
Thank you, Andrew.